How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Farmmi. It did end up pulling back on the Friday, and we also did have below average volume. So I'm like, you know what? I need to give you guys an update video, but I'm still going to continue to keep my eye on this play. So you know what? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. This is very key if you're looking to jump into this play. And then afterwards, we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. We want to know were institutions loading up on shares by taking a look at any filing dates. And then on top of that, we want to see if this play does continue to have short squeeze potential. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know were institutions loading up on shares on the Friday, or were they selling out of their positions? And also what was happening on the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Farmmi. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing the day at 35 cents, being down 6.54%. On the low, it tested 35 cents, and then on the high, testing 38 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 138.89 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 454.615 million shares. So one thing that we can clearly see, we did have well below the average when it comes to volume. And this is one of the things we really need to be paying attention to, because this will have an impact on the stock. And it's part of the reasons why we ended up pulling back a little bit as well, only being down like 2 cents on the day. But now when we take a look at our chart, we're going to continue to use the 5-day, 5-minute chart. You can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 44.01. And one thing that we can clearly see what's going on with Farmmi, it is continuing to consolidate. As far as the areas of where it's at, and I'm going to be talking about 35 cents to be exact, this has been a level we've been holding down. We've been in a very tight range between 35 cents, and we could also agree to the fact of right here around 40 cents. So keeping this in mind, if we could hold down this area at 35 cents going into the open, then of course I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that move. Like we said, we ended up testing around 38 cents, right? So 38 cents is that clear area of resistance. If we can get past it, then of course I'm going to be looking for that test so we can get to right here around 40 cents. It's 40 cents right over here, just going by even further decimal places. But you guys already get the gist of it. But if we're able to actually get past this, then of course we can look forward to getting back to levels here where we are on October the 6th, where it was at 41, and then seeing where we can go. I was telling you guys on the 1-year daily chart, I will show you very quickly here, there's a big time gap fill opportunity. So of course there would be resistance right here around 60 cents. There's also another resistance level here right around 65, and I would love to see Farmmi make that move and get to just under 80 cents. But at the same time, it's going to take some patience. There's going to be consolidation. I don't mind that, because the longer it consolidates within this tight area, then we can look forward to seeing a strong pop to the upside. But hey, this is just my strategy and what I'm looking forward to out of this play. Make sure you do your homework, you do your due diligence, because I am not guaranteeing that this gap is going to get filled. But again, you guys know I love gap fill plays already, and I don't mind putting a little bit into a position to see if you can actually accomplish that. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Farmmi. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So we could see Wedbush Securities Inc. going in with 20,000 shares, and this was filed on October the 8th. So again, this was recent on the Friday. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, we can see from the dark pool short volume ratio, it's at 51.20, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 43 3.5 million shares. Scrolling down further, you can see the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 16 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 11.12%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 7th, which was last week Thursday, it was 48.28. And then for the close of Friday that just passed, being at 51.20. So seeing that, yes, shorts are increasing their positions, and this also does tell us that Farmmi continues to have short squeeze potential. So keep this play on your radar. Pay attention to those areas of support and as well as resistance I talked about inside of the technicals. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Farmmi. So we can see here on the inflow, it was 11,891, and then on the outflow, it was 13,262. So of course, it ended up being an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, we had 2,089. On the medium, we have 7,547. And then on the small, we have 2,255. On the outflow side, you can see on the large, we had 1,852. On the medium, we had 8,443. And then on the small, we had 2,967. So immediately when we take a look at that breakdown, there was a lot of selling on the retail side compared to what we had in regards to purchasing. But again, the purchasing was still fairly significant, but just not as much as there was selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, again, we see a continuation of even more selling. But like I said, we did have lower than usual volume on the day. So keep that in mind. Now taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for October the 8th, we end up having that inflow being at 236.72. And of course, that tells us institutions or large scale orders, there was a lot of purchasing. And when we take a look at what happened on the outflow side, yes, there was some selling, but again, we had a surplus. So this is why I'm going to continue to keep my eye on this play, especially since we're seeing an influx of large scale orders. So what this can possibly mean, there were many who were taking advantage of Farmmi when it had a dip on the day and while it was cooling off. And like I was talking about inside of the technicals, it seems to be consolidating. It is not finished as of yet. It hasn't given that signal. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Farmmi, there's still a lot of interest among institutions for what we're seeing from the order flow. And also when we went on Fintel, we could see a recent filing that occurred. Also in regards to the short interest information, it continues to have short squeeze potential. Keep it on your radar. So that means more volatility and more sharper moves in price action. If we can have more volume than we had on the Friday, that would definitely be a great look for Farmmi. And due to the fact that it was a Friday and it was fairly choppy, we can excuse that. But for Monday, we want to make sure we have more volume. This play thrives on it. If the buying pressure is not coming through, then of course this stock can pull back even further. So again, we want to see some strength. In regards to resistance levels, of course, we have resistance at 38 as well as 40, and there's also a key area of resistance at 47. You guys know I'm looking for this play to pull off a gap fill, but it needs to get past 47 cents. And if you want to actually get more information on that, if you haven't done so already, I talked about it inside of the technical analysis using the 1 year daily chart, so you guys can see exactly through the same lens that I have. But make sure that you're doing your homework and you're doing your due diligence before you push the buy button. Don't just jump into this play with emotions or having greed being the first thing on your mind. You want to have a strategy. You want to have a game plan. Figure out, will this be the right play for me or not? Can I handle the volatility? Is this something that I feel I should have as far as trading? Is there other opportunities? I want you guys to evaluate all of these things before you jump into any play, even outside of Farmmi and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.